Today we are going to talk about the functions of thyroid hormone from the chapter Thyroxine and Thyroid Drug. The content which we are going to cover today is conversion of T4 to T3. Thyroxine is first supposed to be converted to its active form T3. Now, why this conversion is necessary? What are the factors which are responsible for T4 to T3? And what are the functions of thyroid hormones? We will see in detail. Coming towards the conversion of T4 to T3. Now, as you know, the signals, whatever the TSH will pass from the pituitary, are this TSH will attach on the receptors which are present on the cell surface of the thyroid gland. So these receptors will give the signal to the thyroid cells to produce the thyroid hormones, that is T4 and T3. Now whatever the T4 and T3 is produced, T4 is 80% and T3 is 20%. Now T4 is actually its inactive form. First, this thyroxine is supposed to be converted to its active form, that is triiodothyronine. So this T4 to T3 conversion takes place in various organs such as liver, kidneys, through various enzymes. So these are the enzymes like deiodinase in liver and kidney mediates the conversion of T4 to T3. So this is the enzyme which is responsible for conversion of thyroxine to its active form T3. Now once this conversion take place, this T3 will show its effect on various target tissues almost all over the body. It will show the effect such as heart, fat metabolism, protein metabolism, bones, muscles, skeletal muscles, which are responsible for, and various conditions like this T3 should increase. Now this T3 increasing factors and inhibiting factors are also there. So one, we have seen that this conversion of T4 to T3 need the iodinase enzymes which will convert T4 to T3 in the liver. Along with that, these factors such as selenium and zinc is responsible for conversion of T4 to T3. And the inhibitory factors are like stress conditions specifically. These are all liver and kidney dysfunction. Like since these major conversion takes place in the liver and kidney through the various enzymes, but if the liver and kidney is not functioning properly, or so various conditions such as stress will inhibit the conversion of T4 to T3, and in turn it will increase the conversion of T4 to RT3, that is reverse triiodothyronine. Now this reverse triiodothyronine and triiodothyronine will bind to the receptors present at the cell surface, but this T3 actually it should bind, but in case of certain conditions such as liver or kidney dysfunction or stress conditions, these RT3 will bind, or it will compete for the binding at the receptor surface, and in turn the T3 levels will decrease, or T3 actions cannot be completed. So these were the factors in short we have covered. Then coming towards the thyroid hormone, this is the schematic which we have covered in our earlier video. From hypothalamus through TRH, it will stimulate pituitary gland to produce TSH, that is thyroid stimulating hormone. In turn again will stimulate thyroid gland through TSH to produce the thyroid hormones, that is T3 and T4. Now this T4 to T3 conversion takes place in the liver and kidney through various enzymes, and other factors such as selenium, zinc is also responsible for conversion of T4 to T3. This is thyroxine T4 and this is T3. This deiodinase enzyme means what? This deiodinase means lessen the iodines. Now T4 contains 4 iodine, you want 1 iodine less. In case of T3, as you can see here in the structure, T4, T3, 4 iodines, and here 3 iodines, and rest all resembles like amino group, that is carbon containing COOH, NH2, carbon and hydrogen. So this inactive prohormone, that is T4, gets converted to active hormone, that is T3, through the enzyme deiodinase in the liver and kidneys, and natural conversion takes place by the zinc and selenium, which are the two essential minerals required for the conversion of T4 to T3. So now this was with respect to conversion. Now coming towards the functions of thyroid hormones. Hormones acts nearly on every cell of the body. First, what will happen when there is sufficient T3 present? It will target various by targeting. Why this 3 will target only the tissues? Because compared to T4, which is an inactive prohormone, T3 is having the high affinity at the cell surface, or having the high binding capacity to bind to the receptors, and high activity in turn. So these will control, means they will increase the mitochondria numbers in the cell. The increase in the mitochondria number will lead to the increase in the ATP, since this mitochondria will increase, will lead to the higher rate of formation of ATP. This thyroid hormone T3 will in turn again stimulate sodium potassium ATPase, which are known as sodium potassium pump. So the activity, increase in the activity of sodium potassium ATPase will increase the ATP hydrolyzation. That means ATP will split into ADP and phosphate. So this ATP hydrolyzation will increase the metabolic rates. By increasing this, basal metabolic rate will increase, and in turn increase in the basal metabolic rate will generate the heat in the body, and therefore more amount of ATPs are needed. This will increase the demand of energy, and since for the increase in number of ATP, mobilization of energy stores will take place through various processes. Like once the T3 acts, when they act on skeletal muscles and levers, they will bring about the gluconeogenesis and glycolysis. That is, glycolysis is nothing but sugar breakup, and gluconeogenesis is nothing but from the glycogen it is getting converted to glucose. So glucose levels will increase in turn, as well as the large doses of thyroid hormones, that is T3, will lead to excess catabolism of muscle protein. Proteins will get converted to amino acid form. So here, along with increase in glucose, increase in plasma levels of amino acid will also take place. Now here blood sugar levels are increasing, but along with that it is it is maintaining the balance also in between the catabolic and anabolic reactions. Now how it is, though it is responsible for increasing the glucose, now this increased levels of glucose will act, or this glucose will be utilized straight for the cellular respiration process, and this glucose will be neutralized. So again it is having a role in the bone growth also. Along with that, it is increasing, as we have seen, increases the basal metabolic rate. It is regulating protein, fat, carbohydrate metabolism, also vitamin metabolism. On nervous system, it is promoting the growth and development, along with the increased response of catecholamines, that is adrenaline, noradrenaline. Due to increase in the catecholamines, they will cause vasodilation, which will increase the blood flow, and along with it, it will increase the cardiac output by increasing the heart rate. So on respiration, when the glucose is produced in excess quantity, which is utilized as the substrate for the respiration, so it will increase the cellular respiration also, and in turn it will increase the oxygen utilization along with the formation of carbon dioxide. On gastrointestinal tract, it is increasing the secretion of digestive juices, and that leads to increase in the appetite. Increased appetite will lead to increased food intake. Along with it, it is having the effect on the sexual functions also, which normalizes the menstrual cycle and fertility, and along with it, it is also acting on the mammary glands, It is increasing the milk secretion in lactating women. Now pictorially you can see increased TSH level will in turn stimulate the thyroid gland to produce T4 and T3. The conversion of T4 to T3, T3 will attach at the receptor surface, and on the skeletal muscles it will have the since it is having the stimulatory effect, the glucose uptake will be increased. In liver, gluconeogenesis will take place. This gluconeogenesis in turn is responsible and glycogenolysis. Gluconeogenesis along with the glycogenolysis, it will increase the amino acids as well as glycogen. Glycogen again gets converted to glucose, and glucose again get converted through glycolysis to break down the glucose. Then thermoneogenesis, that is increased heat or generating more amount of heat. Along with that, it increases lipolysis also, like it is responsible for increasing the fatty acids presence in fatty acids, lipolysis, which is responsible for conversion of lipids to the simpler forms by the enzyme lipases. So this was the pictorial representation. Again, this is the summary what T3 does. So on brain it is responsible for development, glucose, it is intestine, it is glucose absorption. Along with it, it is responsible for growth on development of bones also. Protein synthesis it increases. Also it increases the protein catabolism when there are excess levels of thyroid hormones. So skeletal muscles activity increases, glucose utilization increases. On heart, due to increased production of catecholamines, it will increase the heart rate, increase the cardiac output, and responsible for vasodilation effects through beta adrenergic receptors activity. And protein synthesis on hypothalamus and pituitary, you very well know that it will have these actions like TSH synthesis and growth hormone synthesis. Then adipose tissue differentiation and fatty acid mobilization will take place in the adipose tissues. And this, like the term called as lipolysis, increased lipolysis will take place through the lipase enzyme. And in liver, it is responsible for gluconeogenesis. Gluconeogenesis in liver, then lipolysis in adipose tissue. So this all processes are maintaining the balance between the maintaining the neurological balance between the catabolic and anabolic processes. With this, we finish with the functions of thyroid hormones. Thank you.